So the purpose of today's webinar is essentially to show you the value that Capsule can add to your business. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be taking you on a product or a demo, you might want to call it, and we're going to have time for a Q&A at the end. And please let me know if there's any industry or role specific examples you want me to cover. So just to introduce myself, so I'm Harry. I'm one of the account executives here and a self-proclaimed Capsule expert. So I've done over sort of 300 demos. I've been with Capsule for just over a year now. So that's a little bit on me. I won't go any more into that. Now, who are Capsule and where do we sit in the market? So you may be familiar with us. So if you didn't know already, we're a global CRM solution. We have over 11,000 customers in over 100 different countries. So we're all over the world, and we're based here in Manchester in the UK, and we have team over in the US and California. So generally our user base is SMEs. However, we do work with some larger organizations, and we also sit along our competitors are generally Pipedrive, HubSpot, Monday, and Copper, just to name a few. So just going into our sort of key benefits as a platform. Now, we have built Capsule to be easy to adopt and to use. So there's no setup or hidden fees, and you'll achieve quick time to value using Capsule. We've got support videos and documents that help you get set up, and a customer success team that I'll mention later on. We're also flexible in that we can be customized to meet the needs of different businesses within various industries. Andres, I like that. HubSpot's unnecessarily complicated. One might agree with that one. Good to understand feedback. And then just go back into this. We have world-class service and support as well. So over 90% of our queries are addressed within 24 hours. We also have, as I'd mentioned there, a customer success team for our larger accounts and for our higher tiered packages if you would like priority support, and that can be over video call and email. If you are local or if you're in the UK, we do sometimes go out to people as well. And that includes setup, implementation, training, things like that. Just making sure you're getting value out of the system, essentially. We're also reliable and secure. So we've got 100% uptime over the last 2 years. We're a cloud-based solution, as you may be aware, web-based solution, cloud-based. We have advanced access control, so you can restrict records between your users and teams if you need to. And we're also SOC 2 compliant, and we have GDPR certification. That can all be found on our website, just to cover that off. We're also known for our best-in-class value. So we are very cost-effective versus other similar solutions. Thank you for the compliment, Sharon. And versus other similar solutions on the market, i.e. sort of HubSpot, your Pipedrives, obviously Salesforce, but that's a sort of in a different market to us. We're always constantly testing and trialing new features based on our customer feedback. So we'll actually implement new features based on your feature requests. So we always recommend to send those over to our support team if you've got any ideas on that and how we can improve the product. We have over 75 native integrations. So that includes seamless software integration between your existing platforms, your third-party tools that you might use, your Outlooks, your Gmail, accounting integrations like Xero, QuickBooks, things like that, help desks, you name it. We've got cover most of the key integrations that the majority of businesses will use. For anything we don't integrate with, we use Zapier, which you may be acquainted with. And we've got other integration tools, if you don't use Zapier, to connect your tools to Capsule. So we're also scalable. Now, we're suitable for businesses of all sizes. So we can scale with your growth, and that is reflected in our plans. You can upgrade, you can downgrade whenever you need to, if that's as your team grows, and so on, as your needs change over time. We're also highly recommended. So we are rated amongst the best CRMs on the market. We feature in many top 10s. We also rank number 4 out of 700 CRMs on G2 for being easy to use and also meeting the requirements of our users. So you can check those review platforms out just if you need a little persuasion on whether to move forward with Capsule or not. Hi, Julia. Good to see you. And I'm just going to jump down to slide 3. Didn't mean to put that bit up there, but never mind, we'll gloss over that. Before we jump into the demo, let's just simplify Capsule into 3 key areas. Firstly, we've got people and organizations. So this is where you will manage your contacts. It's a centralized storage hub where you will manage your people and your organizations, and you can link people to organizations as well. You manage the interactions you have with those people and organizations. So emails, files, notes, calls, meetings, all centralized in one place. You can capture key data using tags, custom fields, which we'll go into, and you can also segment records here for marketing campaigns. Now, as I mentioned there, yeah, we'll support your marketing needs. We'll support your marketing needs there as well. You can build leads lists, things like that. Anything that is required for your role, you can set that up in our contact area. Now, with sales pipeline management, we have a sales pipeline, or you can create multiple. You can create customized pipelines, and they capture your sales processes. You may have one pipeline, you may have a larger multiple teams where they use a pipeline each. You might have different services that require a different pipeline, different products, and so on. And what you do here is you will manage sales opportunities through their stages, and you'll have visibility on expected revenue here as well. And it's a place where you can, again, track all engagements, and it's linked to that contact record. So it's fully linked between records in Capsule. We've also got project boards. Now, project boards are where you will centralize client deliverables and project work, and you can link them to opportunities. When an opportunity is won, you can create a project record, and that is for managing post-sale processes, onboarding, account management, project management, key client deliverables, anything that requires that continuation of customer management. So if you're interested in email marketing as well, we also have a very powerful integrated marketing tool called Transpond, and it's good for building email. It's fantastic, actually, for building email campaigns, analyzing the effectiveness of those campaigns, and you can nurture your leads and existing customers by using automations. You can build web forms in there, and there's a whole host of new features that we've just released there, like social campaigns and also web chat and ticket management and things like that. So if you want to learn more about Transpond, we are thinking of running another webinar in September. So just give us a shout in the chat there if you want to explore Transpond. Again, they fully integrate. So it'd be good to know if you guys want to explore that in more detail. So, and then here are some of the key features. And then here just covers some of our integrations, just a little nice visual for you guys there. So I'm just going to share my screen again on the Capsule platform whilst we dive into, and we just dive into it here. So bear with me a second. So I think you can see my screen there. If you can't, let me know in the chat. I think we're good. When I'm going to go through the demo, I'm going to be in the perspective of a sales persona who is selling marketing services. So obviously this is relevant for businesses, for marketing services businesses, for consultants. I can see Julia's on the call. I think Angela may be in consultancy as well. It's also relevant for like IT solutions, SaaS businesses. And again, Capsule is customizable to your requirements. So this is just an example that I've set up. I wish I could tailor it to everyone, but unfortunately with a webinar, that's not possible. You can also have a one-to-one demo with me if you book that in after the call. I'm sure there may be some information going out with my contact info. Feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn as well directly. My name's just on the Zoom, so just plug my name in, Capsule CRM, and you'll find me there. So just to go through, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the key tabs, and then we're going to focus mainly on the three pillars. So the contact management, sales pipeline management, and project management, or project boards as we call them. We're going to have a little look at reports as well. And then we'll leave 5 minutes at the end just to go through your questions. So I'm in my dashboard here now. This is the first page that you'll see after logging into the system. And this is your home page. So it provides you with an overview of the latest updates in the account. So it centralizes things like your Outlook calendar, so you can integrate that. You can join meetings directly from your dashboard. You can see who's attending and an agenda, just to go through that. And you can even create new meetings, and that will take you out into Outlook there, and you can set your meeting up and invite your attendees. That will also be visible on your contact record as well for each contact. Obviously, when you send them a meeting, it will be centralized there. So I'll go through that in a little while. We've also got task management. Now, this will show you user tasks. So the tasks that relate to obviously myself, I can see my overdue task due today and then due over the next week. I can navigate to them. I can see which client or lead that relates to, and it gives you a bit of info there when you hover over it. And you can add tasks in here. You can also use obviously the calendar and tasks area, which is a little bit more comprehensive, but this is where this is what the dashboard will show you. We've also recently revamped our dashboard, so it will give you key insights and it makes it easy to quickly navigate to the right areas in Capsule. So we've got recently viewed, and that is recently viewed sales ops, contacts. You can see them all along the top there. We've also got some activity insights here, and you can click into it and see which activities have been logged recently by me or the team, and then also sales pipeline information. These are opportunities that relate to me specifically, so I can see the ones. This is one that I've won this week. I could look at ones where I've had no contact, so we need to go in there and we need to send them an email. So you get the idea. You can quickly navigate between from your dashboard. Now, I won't go through too much more just because I want to spend more time in our contact area and the other tabs. Before we actually go into this, I just wanted to show you, if you weren't aware already, you can go into your account settings, and this will allow you to customize all of your fields, your tags. It will allow you to essentially create the framework of your account, adding your users, connecting integrations, setting up your email templates, creating a sales pipeline and defining the stages, same for project boards, and obviously key fields. So that's where you set this up. So it's in your account settings. If you can't see this, it means you're not an admin. So you will need to ask kindly from your super admin if they can give you access, if you're going to be someone who's going to be setting the account up. We've also got an area where you can contact our support team. So it's here. You can select that. You can create a message. There's some preset messages there or other if it's something else. And then you send them that goes straight through to our support team, and they'll get back to you within the day. And yeah, opens a ticket. You'll get an email back to the email that you put in here. So that's if you need any support with anything when it comes to like setup, implementation, day-to-day usage, contact our support team if you need any help with that. So now going into our people and organizations tab. So this is where you will store all of your contacts and manage all of your key relationships. So there's two types of contacts in Capsule. You'll be able to see them, well, where you can add them here. So you've got an organization record and a person record. Now, when you create an organization record, you can link people to them, and all of that information that you log on the people record will be linked into that organization or that organization record. You can do this manually, so you can add one-off contacts, or what we'd recommend, obviously, is a big time saver. And I'm sure many of you have contact spreadsheets. You can do an import. So you can import from a file, Excel, CSV, I think VCard as well. You can do that. Bring those contacts in. What you'll need to do first is just set up your custom fields. So you define what those custom fields are first, and then you will map the fields of your spreadsheet to the fields in Capsule. We've also got, recently, we just released for some of our users, and that we're going to be rolling this out over the next couple of weeks, is the possibility to import from another CRM. Now, we're working with a migration company. So for free, you can bring across your contacts. There's all the popular CRMs. You can basically map fields from one CRM to ours, and then bring those contacts in. And that's like notes, history, emails, things like that. Because if you built history up over time, it's really useful to be able to bring that across. So you've got complete history of your clients and leads. So, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. So we'll go into our contact records now. So from this page, you can actually customize and sort your columns and easily apply filters, and you can segment your records. Now, I'm just going to bring in a bit of tag filtering here. So tags are great to label your contacts, to add a quick bit of context to them. They can be quickly added and removed, and they can be used basically for creating segments for marketing or for leads lists. So I've got a client list here that I built up. I might want to add in a different layer of filtering. So think of them as ingredients, maybe toppings on a pizza. You can add multiple toppings there, multiple ingredients. You could add something like tag, then you can go ahead and add something like the city where they're located. I might want to look at clients that are based in London, because I know I need to reach out to them because I might be in London in a week's time, 2 weeks' time. So I can set that up. Got a couple of clients here that I can contact. So what I can do from here is I can actually set up a list save list. So it will save this in place. So when I add new contacts in that have this tag and have this filter for location, it will build that list. So you could have clients in London. I think I need to do a bit more prospecting. There's only a few there, but anyway, so we can set that up. They're dynamic, as I said. So when you add a contact and it meets that criteria, adds them into the list. I'm going to jump now into a contact record. So there's quite a few other things you can do, but what I want to do first is show you a contact record. So if we go in here, this is what it looks like when we've created a client record. So we've got this here. They're a client of ours. They could be a lead. You can quickly add and remove tags, as I said there, and you can type new ones in and add them. But on the left, it will basically summarize the key bits of information. It shows you like their LinkedIn as well, so I can quickly navigate to that. Obviously, you can do this for people as well. Gives you like key contact information, shows you custom field information that's industry specific, that's relevant to your categories that are important to you, that you need to have to hand there. So you can set those up in our account settings and populate them with data either via the import, or you can do it. You can just jump into a record and you can populate all the relevant bits of information. So I might know that the organization size is 50,000 people, so I can include that there as well. You can see that's populated on the record. We've also got a couple of people here at Santander, so you can nest people into organizations like I've done here. If I go to Mark, who's the CEO, say I want to, you can see all his information there again. If I go into my history tab, this will show me any engagement I've had with him already. If I log activity now, so if I say I call Mark, but Mark's very important, he's a CEO, so he's not answering my call. So I can say call Mark, no answer, and left a voicemail. I can include that on Mark's record there. If I go back to the client record, you can see it's centralized. So it's got Mark's, you can see I've logged that Mark's record and I've logged that. So it gives you that insight there as well. Shows it you chronologically, shows you any emails. You can send emails directly to Mark. So if I go back to Mark again, I might want to follow up via email. So I could either write a freehand email or I could send an email template to Mark there. Might want to include a few more things in there, and we can also include a signature, and you can use our AI content generator as well if you want to build email templates. I won't go through that just now. And you can also include inserted fields. Now, this is where you can personalize your email. So I could have included that in my email template and probably should have. So you can get the idea, you can personalize an email template and you can send it. So you can connect your Outlook, your Gmail. You can also connect an SMTP mailbox if you don't use Gmail and Outlook. That's no problem at all. What we can do here is we could go back into Santander. We can also see that there's tasks that have been added. So I've actually got to a task that's reminding me to follow up with Mark. We've also got threads, which I'll go through when we get into the sales record that is existing. And we've got a few other things. So we've got enrichment that will actually show you. So it will take the domain, it'll take the @Santander domain, and it will against this, and it will pull in organization info. So their LinkedIn, their industry. It'll also bring in like their social channels, their revenues, and also company tags. So you can actually use this to build up list reports. So that's another new feature that we've added and super useful as well. Another quick one. So we've got events. Now events will show you again when you've got meetings booked and past events. And we've also got the QuickBooks integration. Now this looks like we have a number of accounting integrations. So Xero, QuickBooks, Sage, FreshBooks, so on and so forth. This will show you accounting history. So total sales invoiced, what's open, what's been paid, what's overdue. It will track all of this information centrally on the client record. So that is really useful. I'd recommend having a look at our support videos and documents on this. Won't go too much more just because of time. Now, I just want to jump into our sales record. So you can see we've already got an existing opportunity that's open here, and it's at the proposal stage. So it will give you that client history. The opportunity part is one of it. So if I click on this here, it will navigate into our sales pipeline and it will go into a sales record. Now, Before I do that, I just want to explain the sales pipeline to you really quickly. So the sales pipeline will allow you basically to create your own custom pipelines and stages that reflect your own sales process. So you can see I've got a 5-stage sales process here. It gives you complete visibility on new business, shows you where they are, like in terms of your sales cycle, and it gives you a defined process that you can move along, and your sales team can essentially track through that process. It also gives you a projected value. Now, this is based on probability, so it is a weighted pipeline. You will define the probability of winning from each stage, and that generates your projected value and also our forecast report, which I'll go through a little later in the call. And there's also a total value if you were to win, which wouldn't that be nice if you were to win all of your current sales opportunities. We do have multiple pipelines as well. So this is for new business. I've got one for upsells. You can see the process is slightly different, which is quite different, and there's some different clients in here. It might include the same sort of clients and so on, but you get the idea. You can create multiple sales pipelines for different services, products, or different processes, such as upselling or cross-selling. I'm just going to go now into quickly before I do that, actually. So we've got the pipeline view. We've also got the list view. Now, the list view will show you almost similar to an Excel spreadsheet view of your existing sales opportunities, where you can bring in your different columns. So I can do that. I can bring in other columns. I could bring in when that was added, so on and so forth. What I want to look for here is opportunities where there has been a signed contract, because I want to confirm that. I want to follow up with them after. So I could go in and look at more filters, signed contract, and I could select yes, and go through that there. And I can also save that as a list. So I could save that as signed contracts. I can go through that there. So that's just showing you the list view. Again, these are dynamic. These are great for sort of your monthly reports if you're wanting to look at things where they've been tracked in your fields that you've set up, such as if a contract has been signed. Just quickly going through the sales pipeline, I'm going to show you this. So a sales record rather. So a sales record will break down all the key bits of information on the left. So your tags, your custom fields, you can see I've got a payment tier here. The contract's been received for this one. We've got a lead score. We've also got a contract end date for the existing contract because I'm selling them marketing services here. Remember, key contacts, key bits of info on the left. And then in the center, we've got the history again, where we can log activity. You can see here, I've got some threads where my colleague James, I've asked him if he could forward me meeting notes for the meeting we've already had. And he said he sent me that, and I'm just missing some proposal documentation. We can @mention people. Now, this hasn't been released just yet. You can use threads, but it will give people an email notification when you mention them. But soon we'll have a notification icon when you @mention people. So it means you're not having to go into email, and you're not having to go into Slack, Teams, and so on. Just wanted to show you quickly a transition between the sales pipeline and the project boards. So what I've got set up here is tracks. Now you can use tasks. I've got a one-off task here. I've completed that one. What I can do here is actually use tracks to my advantage. Now, tracks are a checklist of tasks that you can implement at each stage of your sales pipeline, or at a relevant stage. So I've already gone through, it's already pre-populated the qualification track. I've made the call. We've had a meeting. We've done that. Now we're at the proposal stage where I need to send this via email. You can have it where I could send an email. Here is my proposal. And you can send proposal. I can send that. So I've completed that. Obviously, we'd attach a file. We could send that, and we can go through the stages. Now, when we've completed the proposal task, you'll be able to see here, it actually transitions then into the next stage. So we can go into the verbal agreement stage, the negotiation stage. And then once we've completed this, we can go into the contract. So when we've done that, this is just an example. Obviously, you can customize all the tracks you see here with the tasks that you need to complete at each stage, and you can give deadlines of when you need to complete those tasks by. So once I've completed the final task in the contract track and we've won that sale, it's marked as won. It will be taken out of my sales pipeline, so we can't see that because it's not an active sale, and it has now created a project record. On the project record, that was one I created earlier with a little bit of, I'd inputted some custom fields to make it a little bit more relevant. This is the one that it's just created. So essentially the delivery team can pick this up here. I can configure it so it will go into the delivery team and they can go through our new customer onboarding. So I've got a project board for new customer onboarding here. I could have different processes. They could be like project management, could be account management, and so on and so forth. So if I just go through this one, again, very similar to a sales opportunity where you can work through tracks, again, in a systematic way as a cadence. You can log activity and you can also send emails from here and add tasks. So I won't go through any more of that. What I'm going to do now, I'm just going to wrap it up just because of time. There'll be some information that's sent over on reports. Now we are revamping our reporting suite. So I think within the next 2 weeks, we're going to have the opportunity to have custom reports. There is things I was going to show you there, which was won and lost, and things like forecast reports, which are very easy to follow, and you can look at them through our support documents and tutorial videos. So let's just have a few minutes now. Let's just have a few minutes now to have a look at your questions, and then I'm going to go and answer some of them for 5 minutes. So just going to have a look. So just looking at James's question. So is there a plugin for Dropbox, Sign, DocuSign, or Familiar? So there isn't a direct plugin for DocuSign, Dropbox Sign, or PandaDoc at the moment. It's something that we are working on bringing in. In the meantime, though, you can use Zapier to essentially create an automated workflow. So say if a DocuSign has been signed, you can then have that moved along stages in the sales pipeline, for example. So that is something that you can do. Just going to have a look at a couple of other ones. Sorry, I'm looking up. I hope you've said your name right there. How to integrate Zoho emails into Capsule. Now, I'm not sure if you mean email campaigns or if you're talking about just a standard email or email campaigns, right? Brilliant. So that is a question for when we go into transpond. So you can convert it into HTML and you can bring in HTML templates into transpond there. We do have a brand analyzer in transpond that will allow you to build templates based on your logo and theme, bringing in from your website. But the HTML template builder is your best bet. I don't believe we directly integrate with Zoho, so you won't be able to bring the templates across in that way. But creating it in a HTML version and bringing it across is your best bet. Oh, just standard emails. So with the standard emails, what you can do is using our import to integration. So just this one here, you can bring in all of your email history there. You can also, if they're hosted on Outlook, Gmail, you can also store email history in that way as well. Just having a quick look. So I'm just having a look at the Q&A section here. Polly, so that's a good question. So if someone didn't answer your call, can you then create... Okay, Kash is going to answer that one. Sharon, so also projects used to be called cases, which suited my business better. Is it possible to put in a request to customize the name of this section? We wish we could do that for you, Sharon, but unfortunately, we won't be able to. But what you could do is you could have different names of boards. So you could create a project board and you can name it like a cases board or so on and so forth. So projects is just the name of the tab, and then you could use the board naming. So you could go in and you could select. Sorry, I've got the questions up there. You can tell this is the first time I've done this. You could go to add a board and you can call it cases. So you can call the overarching process. You can rename the overarching process. I hope that's useful. Daniel, push notifications. Now, that is something that we are going to be introducing in the next few months. Now, with Threads, we've got push notifications for when you @mention people, but we are looking at introducing an internal notification system for when you assign a new contact to someone, create a new sales record, obviously tasks as well, and projects. So yes, we are looking at introducing that in the next few months. Sharon, another one. Is there a way to get a custom field to become part of the main screen rather than a separate click to open section? So what I'm thinking you mean there, if you can clarify, when you're in a record, you're thinking instead of having to click and open the custom field and input it, could you have it where you just click on it and open it from there? Now, the reason why we've done this, so that's not something we're planning to do at the moment, but the reason why we've done this is to stop data entry, errors with data entry from team members. So you actively have to go into edit and edit that. Whereas with tags, you can do that. And they're a little bit more they have a bit more freedom with tags versus with custom fields, you need to go in and edit them. So it's done basically to protect the data integrity and to make sure that data is correct, because obviously you can search and filter by it. So we don't want to make it easy to accidentally edit that data, if that makes sense. But we will take that one on board, and we will pass that on to the team and let you know if that's something that we can do in the future. Daniel again. So yes, we have a mobile app. So if you go on the App Store, or if you go on the Android store, so iOS or Android, we do have an app for when we're on the go. Yes, so essentially is very similar to the web-based version. So you'll get your dashboard, your calendar and tasks, your contact area, sales pipeline, projects, reports. The only thing you won't have is like the integrations panel, and you need to set automations up in the web-based version. But so yes, and it has click to call, and it also has offline capability. So if you're on a train, for example, and you save something, but you're in a bad area of signal, it'll still save that information for you into Capsule. So Polly again. So if I already have a MailChimp account, which I link Capsule to, what extra does Transpond offer in the way of analytics? Now, I'm going to say to you, please join us on our call that we're going to have in September. I think there's an appetite for it, so I think we should have a webinar on Transpond. Just to give you a top line overview of the analytics in Transpond. So it's things like the usual, what's been delivered, opens, clicks, sends, bounces, things like website tracking, so unique visitors. There's also social tracking for our social campaigns that you send, so number of new followers, like engagement, things like that. So we'll cover that later on in our next Transpond webinar. So I'd recommend coming back to that in September. Just another quick question. Helen, so do you need to put the organization and people in before the project? Yes, you do, just so we can link that project to the relevant organization or person. So that's how it creates basically a link between when you log information on the project, when you log activity on that project, that's how it is connected to the organization and person record. So that's just the flow of how we set it up. You might want to put like a placeholder name in there, and then you could add the contact information if that's not something that you have. But we just find you're going to have to enter that information in at some point. So it's easier to do it before than later down the line. But if it's something where perhaps you don't have all their information, you could put like a placeholder name in and then create the project based off of that. I hope that's useful. I love it. I'm seeing all the same names here, which is great, but I'd love to see some more questions. I'm going to wrap things up in a couple of minutes. You can leave if obviously you've got other things to do, but with it being the first webinar, it's always going to take a bit longer than expected. Can you just set up an opportunity, then it populates people, or do you need to do people and org first? So that was the same sort of question for projects. So same answer that I just given there. You can, let me see actually. So you can set up an opportunity and you could then create the person. So you could say if we're creating one for Helen, we could add Helen, as in we could add you as a new person, or we could add like your organization. And then we could add people there. So you can create contacts whilst you're creating the opportunity, yes, but it's easier because you don't have all the fields to hand there. You'd have to go back and edit all the fields after. So it's just, I just find it is a lot easier if you do the person/organization record first, because you can populate it completely. So I hope that answers that question. Irina, what is better, to create a person or create a contact within the organization? That's a great question. There isn't a right or wrong way to do this. Obviously, you can create an organization and then you can add a person, or you can create a person, and then you can add them to an organization. What I would say, though, is if you haven't already created the organization, it's quicker and it's more efficient to create the organization first, because then you can populate all that information. And then you can fill in the person's info, because you can see here there's only one field for organization, versus if you go into organization, I don't know why I went there, versus if you went into organization, you've got these organization fields here, and then you can add people, and you get quite a few more fields there to populate. So it's probably quicker to do the organization than the person. The quickest way, though, is obviously to do a import via a spreadsheet and creating an organization row, then a person row. And then as long as that person has the organization name in the organization column, then it will nest them into that organization. That's important to note. So I think doing it in the way of the import is the quickest way to do that. But in Capsule, if you're doing it one-off, the organization first, because you get more people fields. Hopefully that answered that. Thank you. All good. I'm going to do one more, maybe two more questions. Dennis. So this is a new question, a new person asking a question. Thank you, Dennis, for the question. So I use Outlook to correspond with clients. Am I right? All this correspondence, including attached files, will be available with Capsule once integrated. Yes, Dennis, you are right, but you'll need to make sure that you're storing on that contact. So if I go into my Outlook integration here, I'm just going to remove a contact so we can show you the flow from the start. And then I think this is going to be the last question, guys, just because we've way overrun here. Again, if you need to leave, please leave now. If you want to hear the answer to this question, then stay here. So we've got, say, a new contact's come in. I've got my Outlook integration, the add-in set up here already. You can use this for the web-based version, which I'm on here, or you can use it for the desktop-based version. So you can see I'm on the web-based version there. Sorry, I just want to leave that there. And then what you can do, you can add a person in. So this will allow you to create people from within Outlook. So you can add them as a person. Obviously, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a person emailing you, not an organization. You can fill in all the relevant information. So I can see Kobe is a director there. You can populate them into an organization. You could add them into an existing one, or you can create a new one. I'm not very creative with the names. I do apologize. So that's a new organization I've set up here. You can add tags just as if you were creating, there could be a new lead, for example, or a lead. Sorry, you can set that up and then fill in that info. We can save and store as a person. What we can do here, so this is answering your question, Dennis. So this conversation currently is being stored under Kobe's record in Capsule, and also will be under Dennis Consultancy's client record or contact record. You can enable automatic email storing for this contact if you're on the growth plan or higher. So with that, you can store previous emails. So emails before this thread, so before this one here, including attachments. And then you can also enable automatic, you don't have to do that. So obviously you can remove it if you want to, but we want to include that. And we can then enable automatic email storing. So for including this email, any future threads that I have between me and Kobe will be stored on Kobe's Capsule record, including attachments. So what I would recommend doing is when you set Capsule up, go through your inbox. So unfortunately, we can't do it for every single record, because I've been asked that question before, because obviously you'd end up bringing in way too many emails and just muddying the waters with your Capsule account. What you want to do is you want to go through each record, and you can see I've actually already created this one in Capsule, but I'm not storing the conversation. So you can choose whether to store the single conversation or every conversation from this person or organization. So I can do that. So you can just work your way through your inbox and basically store the relevant emails that you want to. Obviously, there might be some way you don't want to store them. That's fine. You don't have to do that. There's other things you can do as well, which I'll really quickly show you, where you can add opportunities from within Outlook. You can add a task onto the record. You can create a new sales opportunity, and it will input that into your chosen sales pipeline. So I can put it into my new business pipeline at a particular stage, fill in all the relevant information, and you can actually save and move this conversation onto the sales record. And there's other settings which allow you to move conversations onto either the contact record, sales records, or project records, and you'll be able to see any history if there is any here. I think I'm going to wrap it up there just because I've gone through, hopefully. Yeah, I think what I'm going to do is wrap it up there. Please just, what we'll do is we'll try our best to get back to your questions. Is there any other questions? I don't think, yeah, I'm just going to wrap up there just because it's 50 minutes over. But anyway, send the questions over to us either via our support channel, directly to me on LinkedIn, or to responding to the email when you receive this live as the recording. But thank you guys. Julia, thank you so much. Angela, Helen, thank you. Is there any other, anything else? Cheers, Charlie.